That's the Open.
No, it's not. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And this is episode 30, the Jerry Cheevers episode, Ron.
Wow.
That
Rick
was
Peckham here, at high above Hartford Civic Center for the Oilers and the Bruins. And so, Jerry, what do you think?
Yeah, he did do color for a while for the Whalers, didn't he?
Long time.
Yeah, that was my number in high school. Was 30. I played
Was
net.
it?
I played net, and Jerry Cheevers was my favorite goalie at the time. Him and Tony. So I got number 30, but I do have a Tony Esposito Blackhawks jersey, which is 35. So 30 is my favorite. 35 is 1A, so to speak. So anyway,
3 short of mine, but
hey, so today, actually, Ron has brought this topic to the table. He thought of it while he was eating his pineapple pizza the other day, and he says, Dave, you know something? Today I'm going to order a veggie pizza. I'm going to try something new. And I says, hey, that's a great idea for a show, trying something new. So that's what we're going to talk about today, whether it's trying a whole new game or it's playing one of your favorite games a different way. But we're going to talk about trying.
Was that after your trip to Whole Foods?
I've never been to Whole Foods. You know that? I haven't. She has. I haven't, though.
Whole Foods, which means they cost whole dollars.
I hear it's nice but expensive, but I haven't been there.
Oh, my God.
So maybe I need to
Trader
try something
Joe's.
new.
What?
I need to try something new, I guess.
Yes, you do. So send your applications to Sharon Gardner.
Hey, so as we get things going here, before we kick off the show and get to what we're playing the whole bit, I want to shout out to some of the listeners of the show
absolutely.
here. Man, we've been getting some great feedback here, and it's just been one here, one there, one here, one there. But it's just nice. Like after every show, it's just. You could tell they're kind of genuine comments too, Ron, is when someone says, boy, all right, a new Digital to Dice, I can't wait to listen. I'm going to be listening at work Monday, or it gives me something to do this weekend, or, oh, it's my favorite show back, and good to see that. And we really, really appreciate that feedback.
Absolutely.
That gives us fuel for the show, because there's some weeks where we're, having a tough week or whatever, and then it's like, no, we definitely want to get a show out this week. And when we read those comments, that really does. It's just something you don't have to go out of your way to do, and people go out of their way to do. And it's just nice when people leave those nice comments. And there were a handful after the last show as far as, the topic was good, or, I enjoy listening, or favorite part of the week, or anything like that. It really, really does go a long way.
Absolutely, and we're always very grateful.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of people that don't comment, and that's fine too, because when we were checking some of the numbers for the shows, a lot of people are listening, a lot more than we ever thought would listen to the show.
What, we've had 10,000 overall?
Yeah, and this is 30 episodes. We've been doing about a half a year now, maybe a little over half a year. And we've had 10,000 plays between, playing right off of Spreaker, then you got your iTunes, your iHeartRadio, and a few things like that. And then also it goes over to my YouTube channel over on Dave Gardner Videos. And so the YouTube stuff picks that up, and then we get a lot of plays over there as well. So anyway there.
Anyway.
So what are you ordering?
Cell phone reminds me my bill's going to get paid in a couple days.
What was that? The pizza company calling you up saying what pizza you want?
You know it. You know it.
That's pretty good when the pizza company calls you.
Hey, they know where to send that pineapple.
That's right. So anyway.
The bottom of Lake Champlain is where they send the pineapple.
Here we go. I love pineapple on my pizza. Okay, anyway, so here's Ron's favorite part of the show. All right, Ron, here you go. You're ready to shine. Here we go, Ron. Here we go.
Aunt Becky, stop hoarding those boxes of alcohol wipes. We need them.
Yeah, that's a funny little story today. Is I use these little prep pads that you would probably do like when you get a needle or something like that, shot in the arm, and I use them at the rink for the referee whistles, so we can wipe them down. If anybody needs one at the rink, we wipe them down. And I went out today, and I went to 2 CVS's and 1 Walgreens, and there were no alcohol swabs. There was no isopropyl alcohol anywhere. All the alcohol supplies were gone.
Even the jugs of it were gone.
Yeah, even the little bottles that you get, all gone. There was.
Could you use peroxide?
The funny thing is there was witch hazel, then whole open space, and then peroxide. And that's where the alcohol swabs and everything were, in that one area. So, yeah, it's unbelievable. People are gobbling that stuff up now, and this coronavirus is really starting to take its toll.
Don't wash your hands after you do things in the bathroom. Don't do that now.
Well, it's not quite as easy as washing your hands and we'll all be safe. I mean, that does help towards it, but still.
Right.
My wife sent me a text today. She has a lot of customers of hers in China, and she sent me a big, long text about the virus and, how to avoid it and how do you know if you have it and the whole bit. But I guess it doesn't like heat, so the closer we get to summer, hopefully the better off we're all going to be because it does not like the heat. So anyway, that's our medical update here today.
Thank you, Dr. David Gardner.
Yes, thank you so much. So anyway, why don't we get to what we're playing? I guess I'll start first this time, Ron.
Go ahead.
Let me see. I've been playing more of my Xbox game, Call of Cthulhu. I finally got through the hard part, and now I'm kind of back to the adventure part of the game. And as I mentioned, boy, that took a really weird turn where you're investigating the mansion on the island, and you find that secret passageway behind the bookcase. It's all very cliche, but it works. It just does. It works. And so I went into the mountain, and I found all the weird stuff going on in the mountain. I got caught, and I woke up in an insane asylum, had to escape the insane asylum, and now I'm back in the mansion with people who were supposed to be killed when I was in the mountain. I watched them killed, and now they're alive again. So this thing has taken all kinds of twists.
It's kind of warped.
It is. It's a very warped game, so you don't know, was it all a dream? It was all a dream, or what it was. So
I watched that show. You wake up in the morning and he's in the shower. No, he watched you die. And Donna Reed played your mommy. No.
That's what it felt like. It was really weird, but it's a fun little game, kick back and play, so I've been playing a little bit of that. I finally broke out my Stratomatic hockey cards and dice, and I played another game of the 71-72 finals between Boston and New York. I've now played Game 4 of that series, and this is something I started when I first got the Strat going last fall, so this has been a very slow-going project. It's probably been at least 3 months since I've picked up a game, since I played Game 3. And I've been using the Stratomatic utility, okay? Not the helper, but the utility. The utility is the one that comes with the PC game. It is not the PC game. But that's the one that you input all the teams, and you can put in. You can play the whole season in there if you want. But I just inputted these 2 teams, and I inputted the 7 games on the schedule, and you set the lines and everything too. So when you're playing the game, you can just click to go to line 2 and click to go to line 3 and click for your power play lines, and so you don't have to rearrange any cards at all. You still need the cards though. So
Yes.
So you flip the card and it'll say, defensive, 2 or whatever. So then you look at the card. Okay, it's Brad Park, defense 2 or whatever, or whatever it is, or passing whatever. And so you still need the cards, but the thing is you can have them in front of you in no particular order because you never have to touch them until you need to look at them. And that's what's really fun about that. And it keeps tallies of all your shots, all your penalties. It rolls the dice for you. It has the face-off chart. It has the penalty chart. It has the penetration chart. It has everything there. The only thing I need aside from that utility in the card is that I still haven't got up to speed yet on the super advanced power play. I do that when I play the PC game because you don't have much of a choice. That's how it is. But I still haven't got the speed on that, and so I'm kind of thinking that there's no sense changing midway through the series. I'll just play out
Not
the series.
through the series.
Yeah, so
The thing is with the super advanced is if you can understand how the timing works, it flows much better. Because if you're on offense, you flip a card.
Right.
You flip a fast action card, and you take so much off the timing. And if you're on defense, you can try to skate, set up a shorthanded chance, or try to ice, which takes up some time. So as soon as you know how the timing goes, feel comfortable with that, I think you'll like that experience better. There's no guarantee that your offense is going to get many chances. But in the Edmonton Islanders thing I'm doing from 81, 82, power plays are right on. It's about 22, 23%.
Yeah. I do plan on doing that at some point, but for right now, what I'm doing is the advanced power play, which is kind of the same as basic power play, where you roll the dice and you see what chances you get.
Right, you get the no chances or 4 chances or the shorthanded chance.
Yeah. So that's what I've been using for that. I do want to get to the super advanced because I love playing that on the PC, whereas you can get shorthanded breakaways, and I've had 2 shorthanded breakaways on the same penalty kill. And that makes it fun. So I will get to that point at some point with the cards and dice version. But
Anders Kalura has 3 shorthanded goals for me for the Islanders.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to get more shorthanded goals on the PC playing the super advanced than I do, playing basic or advanced power play. But yeah, so boy, I keep wanting to sit down and play that game or any game, and when I finally do, it is so fun. I'm like, I need to make more time to play these games. I really do. It's just so fun to play, and then having the utility really helps. I wish there was one for baseball too, because
you can directly roll the die, play the game on your tabletop, and punch in if you had the season, you can do it all manually. You don't need to play the baseball game with the cards on the computer.
Right. That might be fun because you could. In theory, you could play the PC baseball games and then manually play.
Yes, that's what people do.
Oh, that would be so cool.
That's what our buddy Sports Time Machine will do sometimes.
I should try that.
And you can do it with basic. You don't need to play the advanced or the super advanced. Although, honestly, it's not that super advanced is not that difficult, and you can play advanced on the computer. You just can't play basic. You can do the basic, of course, manually, but on the computer, you can start with, in baseball, just as simple as advanced. And it's really not that much more difficult than basic. A lot of it's just different. Do you read against the lefties or against the righties?
Okay. I wish they would do it with hockey, because I would absolutely simulate some of the hockey season and then manually play it and put it in.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they don't. I think you can do that with a football game, too, but that's the one strat game I don't own.
Okay. So I ended up playing that one there. That was a fun one there. I did get tongue-tied, though. I was streaming that, and I rolled a 20 on the penalty, and I went to the secondary penalty chart, and I was lost. Admittedly, I was lost. I even said it on the stream. I was like, okay, I've never run into this before. I'm not sure how to read this, so I'm just going to roll the dice again and go with whatever. And
remember, a BPO is a bench penalty on the offense.
Yeah, but it
BPD.
just had all these, like, I just didn't know how to read the chart. Okay,
right.
And I didn't want to take the time out during the stream to do it. So after I got done, I sat and I looked at it. So okay, now it makes a little more sense. Now you get offense and defense, and this is who gets this penalty and who gets that. So after I sat down and learned it, it made sense. But at the time, I was just like, I'm just gonna roll it again. It was just a minor penalty, whatever. But it was a fun game. Bruins pulled it out. Rangers actually. They had a power play for the last 2 cards. So I was like, well, there's no sense really pulling the goalie. At that point there, you really don't gain an advantage.
There's no advantage.
So at that point there, you're already in power play mode, so I'm not going to leave the net empty. So, of course, they were down by 2, the Rangers were, and they scored on a power play on the last card, but time expired on them. But it was still a fun game. So Boston has a 3-1 lead going back home to Game 5, and hopefully I'll wrap up that project shortly. It's been a 6-month project, but boy, I enjoy that game. I really do.
It's fun.
Yeah. So what have you been playing?
Let's see. I've been doing some City Skylines. If you can have a computer that can run City Skylines, God bless you.
Okay.
It's I would call it. It's called a city painter as opposed to a city builder.
Okay.
If you're familiar with, as I've got F-35s now taking off behind me.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. Yeah, they're based out of Burlington International Airport. So
we have a little flyby going on during the broadcast.
Yeah, a flyby going on. Opening day at Fenway. They did it for the first time the year the Red Sox won the World Series. So in 2004, it was the Green Mountain Boys. And every year since for the home opener, you could hear them taking off. And 20 minutes later, you could watch them fly over Fenway on TV.
That's weird that they would fly out of Burlington, though.
It's the biggest airport near the border in Vermont. Because Plattsburgh was an old Air Force base. But it was closed in the early 90s. The KC-135s, the tankers that would refuel the fighters, were based out of Plattsburgh.
Isn't that crazy? A 4-hour drive is a 20-minute flight in the F-16.
Yes. Well,
So-
they're F-35s now. They were F-16s, but now they're F-35s.
So the next time we come up to see you, just send an F-35 down to get us, will you?
Absolutely.
We'll be there in
and
20.
And who do I charge for that?
Yeah, I'm thinking, Retro Sports Network, right?
No.
You got
Nope.
you got a Patreon for that, so maybe the Patreon can
Sure I do.
So
sure I do.
So
you
what-
know, I can just see you upset as they're trying to land the plane.
So what we'll do is just send one down. They'll pick us up. We'll be up there in 20 minutes. We'll have a pineapple pizza, and then we'll come home. You know what I mean? It'd be a lunch trip.
It'll be a shame that I don't get the chance to see you when you're up here. What the hell was I talking about? Oh, City Skylines.
City Skylines.
That's another plane takes off. They're coming to get you. You and Sharon got to get to Otis right now. So it's basically SimCity, except for it's a lot nicer.
Okay.
And you can zoom in, and there's a lot of downloadable content and user maps. And so with a new computer, I've been trying to figure out other things to stream outside of the games over Twitch. And so last week was my second week doing it. We had a good time. We're going to be doing some railroad stuff this week for my non-sports gaming. And the other thing I've been playing outside of my... Oh, yes. Someone that shall remain nameless. I won't mention who it is accusing me of rigging my football streams against the New England Patriots. His lovely and precious New England Patriots. What was that? Aloha?
I just thought it was funny because I watched some of the stream that you did. There was a playoff game
This
with
was
the
the
Patriots.
AFC divisional game between Kansas City and New England from '86.
Yes, so 1986. So the Patriots got the ball with about 2 minutes to go, ball in KC territory, and you threw 3 passes and had Grogan run out of bounds. And I was like, boy, that way to take 8 seconds off the clock.
Grogan run was on first down, and I figured I would sweep him. And what's he do? He runs out of bounds. He gets a couple yards. I complete a pass. Game's over. Because they got to use a timeout. And no, incomplete. And so someone accuses me of fixing games so that his precious Patriots
Well,
won't win.
when I saw them when they had the first down on their own 1 yard line, you ran an end around double reverse. I knew something was up.
That's not what happened there, Pineapple Boy. I make mistakes. I'm not going to tell you I don't. But that is absolutely, utterly not true. It was a Hail Mary from the one. Come on.
There you go.
I lost what I was going to say. Thanks. So last week we did, it was like a 16-12 game or whatever it was. It had all the fun and excitement of mid-70s football.
It
without
was
the
4 field goals, right, or something like that.
Kansas City had 4 field goals.
Yeah, that was weird.
When I put it on sports simulations and replays on Facebook, it was the teaser was, this is how Todd Blackledge got into TV. So last week I did the Giants and the Bears in an NFC divisional game that went into overtime. I won't say who won if you want to go back and watch it on Retro Sports Network, but that was a fun game. And Gardner, the person that shall remain nameless is going, it's 6-3. I was promised a good game. So the touchdowns are coming.
It
and then I won't
was.
finish
It was
That's the
6-3 late
conversation.
in that game, and then finally.
I was relieved when someone got a touchdown in that game, to be honest. And so next week, or this Sunday, we are doing the AFC Championship game between the soon-to-be AFC champion Seattle Seahawks against the lowly New England Patriots. Bring your pineapple pizza and bribe me to see if the Patriots get... No. Go ahead. I know you want to. That's right. So it's my Final Four, and it's kind of cool because we're not matching the real Final Four that year at all. The real Final Four in the AFC was Denver-Cleveland, which Denver won on the drive to break poor Bernie Kosar's heart, and then the Carlos field goal in overtime. And the NFC game in real life was Washington-New York, and we're having Chicago-San Francisco in 2 weeks for the NFC Championship game. So kind of one of those where the last football replay, we actually got the 3 of the 4 real-life teams in the Final Four, and this year we got none.
That's pretty cool. That is
so
kinda cool.
I'm happy at both ways. I'm not disappointed. All those teams I think are legit. I think the Patriots really do have a realistic chance to win, and it wouldn't break my heart to see Seattle win.
Yep. That
Although I'm
sounds pretty
told
cool.
that sponsorship money may be on the
Sponsorship could be on the line here. We'll see what happens.
line. You see the pressure I have to deal with? Anyway, and of course the 78 baseball replay. But I think this kind of, I'm going to finish that if you want to dovetail into the topic of the week.
We could. One more thing I want to add.
Sure.
I finished reading Harry Sinden's book
Oh, yeah,
called
go ahead.
Hockey Showdown. Okay, it was called. So, Hockey Showdown, it was a book about the 72 Summit Series between Canada and Russia. We probably all remember that, and Henderson's goal, and Clark breaking the guy's ankle, and the whole bit. And so he kind of broke down how it all happened, how he picked a team, training camp. He talked about all 8 games. Talks about what happens in them. He talks about what happened between the games. He talks about the guys that quit the team because they weren't playing, things like that, and all the things he had to juggle, and how they ended up coming and winning that final game.
Now, people may forget, because that was a long time ago, that Harry Sinden was the head coach of the Bruins well before he was the Cheapskate general manager,
Yes.
and was the head coach of Team Canada when they played the Soviets in '72.
Yes,
So
he was the head coach, and
he won both of those cups for the Bruins, right? 69,
no, I don't
70.
think he won the first one or the second one. There's one he didn't win. I don't think.
Really?
I think so. I could be very wrong, but I thought there was someone
Go ahead and
else.
talk about the book.
Yeah. So it was really kind of cool. Reading about what happened and how many people quit the team and why and who was in net and how Bobby Orr's knee was hurt, so he never played in a game, and how Wayne Cashman got hurt in the Sweden games, and it was really good. So I finished reading that the other night, and then I finally went over to YouTube and I actually watched. They have the full game, but they also have the condensed version. And what was really fun is I watched a couple of the condensed version. They were like 6, 8, 9, 10 minutes long, and the power plays in Russia were ridiculous. He was saying that in one of the games, after 2 periods, they had 15 minutes worth of penalty killing. That's almost a full period. So you're talking about almost half the game to that point. You're shorthanded, and so when I watched it, it seemed like every single Russian goal was a power play goal, either 5-on-3 or 5-on-4. That's how bad the officials were over there. But at the same time, just to kind of play devil's advocate, when I watched some of the highlights, they were playing a pretty aggressive style game. Now, did the penalties need to be 31-4? No, I don't think they needed to be that lopsided. But you can see that they played most of the game shorthanded, and they still ended up, coming away with 3 victories in Russia.
You are absolutely right, by the way, on that. I would never have guessed that. Harry Sinden won the Stanley Cup and was let go.
Yes, yeah, yep.
Tom Johnson was the coach for that hugely successful 70-71 team that ran into the late Henri Richard, Jean Beliveau, and the Montreal Canadiens. And then they won the Cup, 72-73? No, 71-72,
71-72,
right?
yeah. That's the one I'm playing, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So, do you know any of the story behind that? That's kind of interesting. Tom Johnson, by the way, is in the Hall of Fame as a player, too.
Oh, wow. Did not know that.
I believe he played for the Bruins.
I think he did, yeah. I remember him as a coach, but if he played, it was way before my time.
Actually, he played for the Superior Montreal Canadiens until his last 2 seasons.
Did not know that.
He played 63-64 and 64-65. He was the Norris winner in 58-59 for Montreal.
That is pretty cool.
And
That's
so,
really cool. Good for him.
So,
So,
I'm surprised. I'm now to go through and look
Yeah.
to see why the Bruins.
and I've
They
been
must have
playing
booted
that.
him upstairs.
I've been playing that 72 Summit Series on everything. Somebody created those cards for Strat. Hockey Blast has those, and I'm also playing that on Action PC Hockey.
That's right, because someone made the teams for that, for Action.
Yeah, so that's what I've been using there. In fact, I think I'm 2 or 3 games into that series, and I think I have to go back and check on who's won those. But
Yeah.
I think Canada's like killing them, though. I really do.
But it'd be hard for them not to.
The cards that Strat create or were created were specifically from those 8 games, which would be an extremely small sample size. I remember when you showed me Ken Dryden's card, and Dryden played 1 game and gave up 5 goals or something like that, and you're showing me the card going, this can't be right. This can't be Dryden's card. Well, it is Dryden's card. We're just used to him being a lot better. And so Strat, I would think, would be get it close to right because they're made from the stats. And I would think that, I don't know how they did it for Action PC, if they went through and did the NHL and the Red Army, or both of the non-professional Soviet teams. Anyway.
I was trying to
So-
find my notes on that as you were talking because I started
Yeah.
to write down who was winning the games in the series and what game, because I did play Hockey Blast, I did play Strat, and I did play Action PC, but I don't have them handy here, so I'll have to go and dig those out.
It's a fascinating series, and a lot better than the Soviet trip of 75, 76, or they're going home.
Yeah.
They're going home. When Bobby Clark and the
Well, the thing was,
Flyers
is those
just beat the
teams,
crap out of 'em.
those teams were crushing some of the NHL teams, and so finally the Flyers beat them up pretty good in that game there, and so that was crazy. I remember watching that live in '76. I do. I watched that live.
New Year's Eve.
Was it New Year's Eve? I thought it was New
believe
Year's
so.
Day. Must have been during the day. 'Cause
It could have been during the day.
I think it was during the day because I remember having that during. I could be wrong. I'm old. I could forget. So anyway, so what do you think? Let's get to the topic at hand.
That's beyond pineapple pizza. Aunt Becky, what is that? That tastes like meat. Ew.
Isn't that what the Beyond sausage is? It tastes like meat.
It's not sausage. It actually tastes good. I like it.
Yeah, you said you liked that, the Dunkin' sandwich there.
It tastes like frozen pizza sausage, to be honest. And I just like that spice mix.
Oh, cool.
And the consistency is almost meat-like.
Yep, I haven't tried it yet.
It's not my favorite. I like the turkey sausage, and I like the regular sausage. Oh, we're supposed to be talking about our thing. So let's...
So
You want to set...
Yeah, so I'll set the tone here. So we were talking about trying something new, whether it's a new way to play your game, whether you're playing as is replay, or you're doing a what if replay, or maybe you're playing things a little bit different than you normally do. Maybe you play offense, now you're playing defense. Maybe you're playing both teams. Or is it trying a completely new, different game? Let's just say, hey, I like game A and I love it, but I'm going to go try game B or game C. I'm going to try something different. And so, yeah, we did a little bit of that. And it's like, yeah, let's talk about that, because sometimes you find a game and you love it. And this could be video games, too, because I played some video games that love this game, and that's all I'm playing. And then all of a sudden it's like, let me go try this. And it's like, boy, this is really different. But I don't know if I like it or if I don't yet, because it's not what I'm used to. So it's getting out of the box of what you're used to playing, no matter what it is.
So what brought this on wasn't my love or hate of pineapple pizza, no matter what Gardner has to say. It was, I picked up, the new computer, and I finally got the Strat PC Baseball to work on there, and I grabbed the 86 baseball season because I had the itch to do a Red Sox Mets replay, not the World Series. I know how that ends, and let's be honest, if anyone would have told you that first Saturday of the World Series that the Red Sox would have blown 2 chances to win that damn thing, no, Ronnie, it's never going to happen. Don't think like that. I remember going into that series thinking that if they took a game at Fenway, it would have been a successful series. We all know how it ended, and the wrong team won. But so I grabbed that, and normally when I do baseball replays, I will do it as played because it's just easier to get the usage right, who pitched on the right days. Sometimes it may jog a memory. Let's say if you were to do one for hockey like that, you might have watched a game where Marco Barron had 40 saves and slashed a guy. Like, oh yeah, so they're playing the Canadiens. Sorry, Guy, you're getting slashed anyway. And so when you install a season in Strat, you have the option. You can do as carded, which means you only play with the cards that were distributed by the company at the time, or as played. And so instead of doing the as played, because my 78 baseball replay is that, and anything else I normally do tends to be that, I went as carded and set it up to be pure super advanced. There's no miscellaneous rules. I'm playing with injuries on. There's no trades because it's just all where people were carded from. Although I did make the mistake of having Bobby Bonilla play for both the White Sox and the Pirates at the same time, but that tends to happen anyway. And I gotta say, I'm enjoying it. Not that I think that things are too scripted the other way. I think it helps for, like I said, we've done the as played versus as scheduled before. But it really is fun just to have, for instance, early season game between the Red Sox and the White Sox, and Oil Can Boyd's on the mound. And if if the DH rolls a 6-12, it's an injury for the pitcher. That's how a pitcher can get injured. And so you don't, in the PC game, you don't roll that die to see what the injury is. It will randomly tell you what it is. I've lost Oil Can Boyd for 15 games. He'll miss 3 starts. And now I get to choose between, for my 5th starter, the interminable Jeff Sellers or Al Nipper. And that just kind of brings another layer of, these games pitch themselves to be, you are the manager. And so, it gives me a suggested lineup, and I can either or go from there, but change the starters. And I always play both teams, and I do play fair. It's not try to play fair. I do play fair. But please, if you want the Patriots to win on Sunday, please.
What have you noticed that is different in playing these two different styles?
I think you have to use your brain a little bit more, I think, because when you're doing an as played, you know that if an injury roll comes up or if you see the little thing flash on the screen for an injury, it's only going to be the same day. You got to counter around for that. You have much more control over how you want your pitching rotation to go. And so that's completely up to you. For instance, obviously in 86, you're starting Roger Clemens opening day because he went 24-4. In real life, Bruce Hurst or Oil Can Boyd. Clemens didn't start opening. Roger Clemens was not Roger Clemens in April of 86. So he struck out 20 Seattle Mariners, and then he became a legend. And so, yes, you are much more responsible for your rosters. If you care about things such as usage, how do you manage those players? And because players are carded for where the team, where you are at the end of the season, as opposed to whatever point in the season, the Red Sox have Spike Owen. The Red Sox have Dave Henderson. The Red Sox don't have Steve Lyons. The Red Sox have Tom Seaver. And so you're basically taking the team that was there at the end of the year and playing the whole season with them. So it's not going to be completely realistic because Dave Henderson was a deadline deal.
I see. Okay.
But so it just kind of gives it a different spin. And back when I started playing Strat, that was the experience. There weren't websites back then, okay? Let alone Baseball Reference. So there was no easy way to look unless you pulled out your copies of the Sporting News in the newspaper of who was the starting lineup for the August 11th game. You couldn't do that. So in some ways it's simpler. I think in some ways it's more fun because you're going to, oh God, I'm started. You can avoid the guy that's going to start with an 11.68 ERA. You'd never use him. You would absolutely never use him. But if you do as played, oh, look who's starting tonight. Oh, God. So, for me, that's different. And it's, you're going back. It's purely nostalgia. But it's just a different way to play the game.
Now, have you done this with any other games, or is this I don't want to say the first one, but
No, for me, it's easier to do with a card and dice game, and the Appa clone I have, I've just taken 8 teams and played them that way. So I've certainly done non-as replayed seasons before, and it just is a different experience. But certainly for streaming and continuity, I liked as played better. But again, new computer, try something new. If you don't like it, reinstall the season and go with it day in and day out. But, it kind of goes into, yes, the players are real and the teams are real and the schedule is real. But there is, especially with the Red Sox who made several key deals that season, it really turns the beginning of the season into a what if. Do I have to stick Tony Armas and his 500 strikeouts and his terrible Rambo Noodle arm in center field? No, I've got Dave Henderson, who's going to strike out a ton, but is a good outfielder. That sort of thing. When you do the Strat, your replay, your Bruins Rangers, although I think you've done a good job in trying to figure out who was actually on the rosters at that particular time, there's no guarantee that the lines that you put out there are the same as what the Rangers put out there.
No, usually what I do with hockey, it's real difficult to find out who was there. I mean, sometimes I'll look at the box score and it'll tell you who played and who didn't, and other times it'll just tell you who got points and who didn't. But I at least try to get the goalies right.
Right.
And I was doing that for a while in this series, and then a couple of the goalies got lit up early on, so I just went straight Chivas, Giacomin right now. I might pop in Velimir for Game 5 for the Rangers, but I'm going to stick with Chivas for Boston just because he's been on a hot streak, and I think Johnson lost the one of the games that he played. But yeah, I mean, I try to get as close as I can without spending too much time. It's not that important to me to make sure that
Exactly.
I try to get as close as I can. What was really good about when I played that Summit series is somebody did all that work. I don't know what website it was on or what game it was. Someone had figured out or posted all the lines of the players who played and it was mostly Canada with the changes. Not so much Russia, but I have all 8 games printed out with the exact rosters of who was in the game, and that is fantastic. And I wish I could do it, for everything. I looked. I actually went online. I was going to actually watch the games themselves and make my homemade notes while watching the game. That's how I really wanted to get that series right. And then as I started to do that and make my notes and look at websites, I found out that somebody had already done that. So it saved me a ton of time.
That's incredible, because that's a real dedication.
And it's hard to find because you can get the box scores of the game, but it doesn't give you the lineups. It just tells you who scored. So if they scored or assisted or got a penalty, they played. But aside from that, you weren't sure. But somebody did that work.
And you can have a score after a line change, or just because Esposito got one from Clark and Orr
doesn't mean he was on that line. Yeah,
right.
Because in that last goal by Henderson, from reading the book with Harry Sinden, he says that he wanted certain guys out for the last 30 seconds, and Esposito didn't come off. Esposito stayed out in the ice, and it turned out that Esposito was the one that chipped the puck back to Henderson. If you remember that play, there's the shot missed the net. Henderson fell down behind the net. The Russians started to skate it out. Esposito turned and actually chipped the puck off the guy's stick and went in on Tretiak, and Tretiak thought he's just going to get the puck, and all of a sudden there's Henderson getting up from behind the net, curls out in front and scores the goal. Nobody ever saw him because he was out of the play, but it was Esposito that did that. But they weren't on the same line together at the end. Or at least they weren't supposed to be. So when you play these things and they are different, in your experiences, have you ever found something that was so awesome that you stuck with it and that's the way you're going to play it? Or conversely, have you found something that played so bad that you were like, this is not fun for me?
Well, because we all get to pick and choose our own projects. I know about 3 or 4 games into something whether or not it's something I want to do. Can my imagination make this work in my head? And the same goes for an as-played replay, too. That doesn't really matter. If I'm sitting here going, I would love to learn more about, let's say, the Milwaukee Braves. I know you're not a baseball fan. They moved from Boston, played at Braves Field, down Nickerson, and then moved to Atlanta in '66. The Milwaukee Braves were there for 13 years and never had a losing season, which is an incredible run if you think about it. That would be something I'd like to tackle someday. But again, if you get into names that you really don't know, I mean, you've talked about that a lot. If you don't know the names, it's hard to build that in your imagination.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I did a Strat baseball game, and then I did an All-Star lineup baseball game when I first got them, and I picked teams that I knew. And some of those early to mid-'70s teams, holy cow, I was surprised I knew everybody on the team. And that made it really fun to play those games because now coming up to bat, Ron Say or whoever it was. I was like, wow, I know this guy. Coming up is Bernie Cabo, Jim Rice, and I picked a couple of teams. In fact, what did I play the other day, Ron? I think I played Orioles and A's. Wasn't it
Yes.
Orioles and A's? Okay, it wasn't even a Boston team, and I still knew just about everybody in the lineup, and that the Rusty Staub, and guys like that, and Reggie Jackson playing for what team was Reggie playing for?
Baltimore played for Baltimore.
I had no
in
idea he
76.
played with Baltimore, and here he is. Like, what's this? What's Reggie? Is this the same Reggie Jackson on this Baltimore card?
True story. Talk about going back to our positive gaming experiences. Okay, one of the things I just tried in my head before I ever thought doing the YouTube thing was literally a game of the day. Take the best matchups and just pretend that you're calling them and doing that. And so I got the 76 races weren't good. They're Cincinnati, New York, Philadelphia, and Kansas City all kind of walked away with their divisions. And so I got into Mother's Day weekend or something like that. And I had kind of forgotten that Reggie was with the Orioles in 76 because he wasn't there to start the year. I don't know if he held out or what the deal was. And so Reggie's first game for Baltimore was Mother's Day 76 doubleheader against Oakland. And who hit the game-winning home run? Reggie Jackson. Not Reggie Smith. Reggie Smith was with the Dodgers at that point. But you know where I'm going. I mean, it's like, wow, that's one of those, oh my gosh moments.
Yep.
And of course, the cat didn't care. The wife didn't care, and we weren't doing this then, but that's one of those, you've got to be kidding me, because it was as played, and so he's finally in the lineup, and he wins the damn game.
That's neat. That's fun.
And so, yeah, to tie that in. But, to go with the other half of your theory here, trying out the new game. You get used to playing, okay, if you like your coleslaw creamy, then the dry stuff that some of the supermarkets up here give you when you get your fish is not going to be your cup of tea, or is it?
Yeah. So we're not gonna specifically say any games,
right?
Because that wouldn't be fair. But if you have a certain game that you like, and maybe you've been playing it for a long time, and so when you go to a completely different game, okay, company A, company B, maybe it's a big game, maybe it's a middle game, maybe it's a quick play game. Things like that. Because I played a ton of quick play hockey games, and some I got into the groove with, and there's others that I struggled with mightily, And so, but I kept trying them, and I still go back and once in a while and still try some of the other ones that I didn't like as much. But yeah, that just got me thinking, because even with the video games, I remember playing, for the longest time, back in the day with just the NHL game. But then, they had a whole slew of games that come out that weren't NHL. They were ESPN hockey games. And then there were some, and so I would try those, and they were very different than what I was used to, just how they played. Maybe the buttons were different. But there was always something I liked about it. But I usually went back to what I was comfortable with, and it's the same with the cards and dice. I played a bunch of games. For whatever reason, you get comfortable with one. It just works for you, whether it's
meatloaf.
Yeah,
everybody has a meatloaf.
Everyone has, it's burgers and fries or whatever it is. It's just that game works for you. That is your fun game. That is your go-to game. But to put that away and go play a completely different game, and maybe the same sport, and say, okay, I'm going to give this a try and see how this works for me. And, and sometimes you're pleasantly surprised. Sometimes like, wow, this is a breath of fresh air. I really enjoy this. It's different. It's not what I'm used to. It's different. And I think I could see myself with this in the rotation. And other times it's like, man, I've been trying this for a couple of weeks now, and it's just not doing it. Maybe I'm just too comfortable with my original game that I enjoy, and I'm having a hard time adjusting to this way of playing, or sometimes you just kind of don't like the feel of the game, or maybe there's some other reason why that, so you try it out, and sometimes you're pleasantly surprised. Sometimes it fits into the rotation, and other times it's like, I just can't pull myself away from what I'm playing.
I'm going to give an example, and I will mention name companies, because I enjoy both of their products. I'm not slamming one to enjoy the other. Stratomatic, Micro League was my first sim game. Stratomatic, we've tried in college. We have a mutual friend, Tony Whitehill. Baseball, I played all four. Tony Whitehill in our first league game. It wasn't against him. We were all playing at different tables. Started warming up relief pitchers in the first inning of his first game. It's like, you can't do that. Anyway, just that story popped in my head. So we'd played league Strat. I think one of the reasons why I flunked out of college was Strat. One of those things. And so another friend of mine showed me APBA. And it's different because you've seen a Strat baseball card. All the results are on the cards. And you look at an APBA card, and I don't want comments about one being better than the other because the point of the story is I enjoy both, okay? I looked at the cards, and it was just the numbers. Okay, so a 2-4 was a 13. I can't decipher that. Well, you go to these boards, Ron? No, I don't want to go to the boards. All the results are here. So flash forward about 25 years, okay? Had played Action PC and blah, 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 blah. And so I have a free APBA clone, which I have about 40 seasons for. You play it on Excel. Because I kept reading about the game and how people would tinker with it. And, of course, no one was ever happy with the results and blah, 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 blah. And so I went to play it, and it rolled the dice for you. And I learned how the system worked. And I really enjoyed it. It wasn't brain surgery. It wasn't, there are games, we've talked about this in other shows, where complexity can be an important, integral part of the game. Do you go for that runner or do you not go for that runner? Do you penetrate for the shot or do you take the shot from the blue line? Do you try to draw the foul? That sort of thing. And this was, nope. You understood what the good things were on the cards, where they were placed on the cards, what worked. And it turned out that you could play a fairly decent baseball game in 15 minutes. It's like, wow.
Wow,
I
15.
like this.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I like that an awful lot.
Yeah.
And so it's not my game of choice. It's not the first thing I pull out. But every once in a while, simple tells you, simple I think has a bad connotation. Because simple doesn't mean it's not complete. It just means there's not a lot of thought processes that go along with it. And as you know, because you like more of the quick playing games, you just want to play the damn game.
There's nothing worse than a complex quick play game. That's
Right.
not what I go there for. And I'm not
Right,
saying there's anything wrong with
absolutely.
it, but for me, if I'm playing a quick play game, I want it to be a quick play game, and I don't want to have to do all this thinking. And
Exactly. And so I was amazed at how complete this game was that I had poo-pooed all those years ago. There was depth that I didn't think was there. And I realized that I was the one.
sometimes,
was
too,
wrong.
before I forget this train of thought,
Sure.
sometimes it's a mindset when you play a different
Absolutely.
game. Okay, because I play one particular game on the PC, one hockey game that I love to death, and I just play it and I broadcast it, and I could play it all day. It is really, really fun. And when I tried a different hockey PC game, I watched a ton of videos, and some of yours and some other people, and I was like, I'm not understanding this game. How can this be any fun? Blah, 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 blah. And then we had many conversations, and you were like, well, Dave, you got to think of like this. This is more of this way, and this is more this way. They're not the same game. They're not designed to be the same game. They're very different games. And so if you can not go into game B thinking it's game A, you'll be better off. And when I did that, then I started watching the videos again. It's like, okay, this makes more sense. And I ended up getting the game, and I love them. I love both game A and game B, and I do different things with both of them. Okay, I don't think they're the same game. I go into
Right.
one is I'm there for a specific reason, and the other I'm for a specific reason. One I find to be a little more casual. I can kick up my feet and click on it and enjoy it. And the other one I tend to be, hunched over, looking in the monitor, really into it. And both are very enjoyable for very different reasons. So, but I had to have the different mindset going into that. Is what I
We go
really
with
do.
the reverse of that. And I won't mention games here because it's a hockey game, but I won't mention companies because I got used to playing that particular game, picked up a couple other styles of hockey games, enjoyed those more, and when I went to show you game A, I realized I didn't like it at all. And I'm like, oh, okay, I won't be pulling this out again. And so it can go the other way. As mature probably is not the word I'd use, but as you go deeper in the understanding of how these games work, I suppose. And so, like I said, I'm not going to mention the game, but there's one that I would not buy again because I know I can get a better experience from other games having learned how to play them. So it can go both ways.
Yeah, and there's also one other thing we can add here. It's maybe this is the wrong word, and if it is, please correct me. But maybe you get bored.
You
playing.
can easily get,
And so
yes,
when you find a new game, it's all new and shiny, and it's like car keys dangling in front of you. It's like, ooh, look at this. This is all new. And it doesn't have to be better or worse than the game you were playing, but just because it's different. Is maybe you've been playing a game for 5, 10, 15, 20 years or whatever, 1 year, whatever, and you're like, I've just played this one, and I have so much. I want a new experience.
And if you get used to, every game system has flaws. And once you figure, it's kind of like you're with your partner for 2 or 3 years, and one morning you're both in the bathroom, and you don't like the way that person brushes their teeth or they chew with their mouth open. You don't love that person any less, but that's the annoying thing. Shut up when you've got the gum in your mouth type deal. We've all been there. We've all done that. Doesn't mean that you don't like the game system anymore, but if you understand that in order to set up, you got to make 3 actions to do one, that gets annoying when I can do is the one action with the other game.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, so there's different reasons why you might try something different. You get different results, but I guess for me, as long as you can go into it with an open mind and say, okay, I'm going to try to just learn this game and enjoy it for what it is.
Absolutely. And I think what I did with the app was, okay, it's not costing me anything. It's just, can you be patient enough to understand what you're getting? And you're like, oh, this makes sense now. I get it. And
yeah, and the fact is, there's another game that I've been playing that we've talked about off the air, and you said I bet you're never going back to that game, and no,
you surprised me with that because
I said no, I'm not done with that game. It is not my game of choice, but I still want to go back and give it another try, and maybe just a fresh not playing it for a couple of months. Maybe I'll go back. I was like, wow, I don't know what I was thinking back then, or maybe just taking a break from it, or maybe because I played a lot of games at once and I was trying all these new games and whatever. So no, there's not many games that I've given up on and will never play again. There's some that the chances are low because I enjoy something else, and whatever. But there's sometimes I like to go back and play a game again. And just to confirm that, boy, is this what I really feel about it or not? Because sometimes I'll give up too quick. Admittedly,
that can happen. I think we both have had just told stories about like that. So out there in podcast land, are you more like a what if player and then take on a stock replay? Are you one that has done a pure cards and dice and maybe would try an as played, or vice versa? Or you played this company's stuff for a while, or maybe breaking down, and I know that in my streams quite a bit, I hadn't tried Action PC. I was a player of X, and I watched this and that. Hey, is there something that you've tried recently or would like to try that you haven't? Let us know.
Yeah, so have you tried something different? Have you, gone into a brand new game or a brand new way of playing your favorite game, or, just something completely different? I ordered a new game and tried this, or, I decided that, instead of playing offense, I'm going to play defense because it's just a whole new experience for me. Or maybe I'm playing, both teams or one team or whoever you're doing. Like as you said, am I playing the cards differently? Am I going to go as played? Am I going to? This is the cards I have, and I'm just going to play with what I got. So. Yeah, so have you tried anything different, okay? Have you tried something new? And what were your experiences? And again, we don't want to hear how this game sucks, okay? That's not what we're going for.
And no negative experiences here.
Yeah, just if you want to say, look, I've been playing, something for a while. You don't even have to say what it is. We kind of prefer you don't, but if you do, it's up to you. But we're not here to dump on any games. We're just here to say, have you tried something new? Have you got out of your comfort zone, got out of your favorite game, and said, I'm going to play this, and this is very different. And, boy, this was my experience. Either I really liked it or I really didn't, or, I was pleasantly surprised or I was unpleasantly surprised when I try to step out of my comfort zone, because that's the great thing about this. We talk about variety all the time, Ron. It's just so many different games you can play: big, small, medium, quick play, long games. Some games take you 2 hours to play. Some games take you 2 minutes to play or less.
Right.
So I mean, there's all kinds of different games there, and there's all different reasons to play these things. And so we just want to know from you guys there, because as we talk today, that we've tried some different things, different ways of playing it, and those are some of our experiences, and they've been all over the board. Some have been great experiences, some have been mediocre, and some haven't really cared for it all. It's like, I'm not going to do it that way again. So what were some of your experiences if you've tried something new in your gaming life? With that being said, let's wrap things up. By the numbers, this is number 30, episode 30 of the Digital to Dice. I am Dave, and that was Ron with me. And ways to get a hold of us. On the website, digitaltodice.com. That brings you to our Spreaker page where you can hear all of our episodes, digitaltodice.com. Facebook.com/group/digitaltodice. We have a growing group that is growing by leaps and bounds lately, Ron.
Yes.
We're adding like a person a day. Come in and chat with us. Tell us what you're playing. Show off your games. Show your replays. Anything else, join the conversation. We always ask a lot of questions about the show in there that we get a lot of responses from. And finally, the voice and text line, 978-751-DICE, 978-751-3423. We may or may not play some of these things on the show. Ron, thanks for joining me.
As always, a pleasure.
All right, go ahead and get back to your pineapple pizza, bud.
Thank you.